everyone and welcome to the hands-on demo on AWS Certificate Manager. So in this demo, we will request a public SSL TLS certificate using ACM. We will create a simple web application using EC2. We will set up an application load balancer. We will associate the ACM certificate with the application load balancer. We will test the whole setup and finally we will clean up all the resources. So here we have AWS Certificate Manager. We will request a public SSL TLS certificate, and this certificate will be validated against this DNS provider. So I have a DNS domain which I own, so I will be validating verifying the ownership through this particular DNS provider. So in this case, if you have any other domain by your name, you can do this. Otherwise you can just watch this whole video and the steps will be the same in case you want to do it directly with AWS Route 53, which also sells you domain, or you can use any other domain provider. So once you have verified that you own the domain, then we will have an application load balancer, and this application load balancer will use the certificate for all HTTPS communication. So the reason we need certificate from the certificate manager, because we will be using HTTPS. In case we are exposing our application directly on HTTP, we don't need AWS certificate or AWS certificate manager, these two, this particular service and the certificate from here. And the reason this is the DNS provider is here, because that is for verification and it always needs public certificate. So you cannot generate using OpenSSL or some other command line tool and use it with AWS, because that will not work. And finally, we will configure the CNAME to point to our application load balancer. So first step is to launch an EC2 instance where we will host our application. So I'll copy the EC2 instance name. So I have logged into AWS console. I am working in North Virginia, US East 1 region. So I'll search for EC2. Click on EC2. Click launch instance. Paste the name. Choose the default Amazon Linux AMI. Instance type will be T2 micro. Key pair we don't need. So I'll say proceed without a key pair. Choose the default network. Create security group. Uncheck allow SSH, but check these two. Allow HTTPS and HTTP traffic. Rest all is fine. And under advanced details, I'll be adding the script, initialization script to launch Apache web server. So take this code, this will install Apache and enable the service and create this file which will be showing this particular web page like hello from AWS Certificate Manager demo. So I copy the script, paste and click on launch instance. Next we will do the steps in AWS Certificate Manager. So I'll search for Certificate Manager. I'll open this in a new tab. So first we have to do request a certificate. It will be public certificate and I will give the domain which I own. So I click on request. So herein only if you own a domain you can do this lab, otherwise just watch this whole video. Validation method will be DNS validation and default is fine. Key algorithm. Click on request. So you will see something like pending validation and status will be pending validation for the certificate. So what you have to do now is to, this is the CNAME. If you see, the end is techcentral.pro and the CNAME value. So I have to add this particular DNS record in my DNS provider. So I copy the CNAME name and I have logged into GoDaddy console and I will add a new record. CNAME, paste and copy the value also. So click this button paste the value, click save. So at this point, GoDaddy will verify whether it will send me a SMS code. So I enter in the code and click on verify. So it has added, but during my testing I realized that I have to add this value twice. So once like this, it's a bit faster if I add it like this. I will remove the last textcentral.pro part. So I'll add, choose CNAME, remove the last part and add the CNAME value once again. So what I am doing here is basically, this is how AWS will know whether I own the domain or not, because I purchased the domain from GoDaddy and it will contact the domain naming system and it will see, okay, where this domain is registered. So if it is registered and I own, then only I have the authorization to make an entry. So AWS will contact the domain provider and it will check whether this entry is there. If entry is there, that means it can 100% be sure that I own this domain. So I enter the code. So I added these two entries here. So next I will just refresh the screen. So this can take few minutes, 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So I'll resume once the status shows as successful. So it took around 5 minutes and as you can see, the status is issued and it is successful. So I added the record and it is now green. Okay, next step is to create an application load balancer. So I go to the EC2 dashboard, expand the services and under load balancer, click open in a new tab. So I have to create an application load balancer. I will give it a name, create load balancer. First option, paste the name, internet facing IPv4, only have one VPC, default VPC. Here I have to check which availability zone my EC2 is running. So I go to the EC2, click on running, select the EC2, go to networking. I see it's running in US East 1A. So I have to select US East 1A and there is a requirement for at least 2. So I have to select 1. So you can choose any one of it. So I'll just choose 1A, 1B. Now security groups, choose the one which it has created. So I'll just confirm which security group this EC2 is running in. So go to the security tab and I can see it's it is using this launch wizard 4. So I have selected the right one, launch wizard 4. So you just have to check out which one it has created. So launch wizard 4. Next is listeners. So there I will be exposing 2 listeners. So this application load balancer will be listening on HTTP 80 port as well as HTTPS, which is 443 port. So these 2 port. And next I have to create a target group. So target group is a group of EC2 instances which serve your backend, which is at the backend and which serves your application load balancer listeners. So this is the front end and this is the backend. So click this. So create target group instances. This is target group will take the port of your web server. So which is HTTP 80. So same port. So rest all settings are fine. VPC is also default. Health checks is also default. Click on next. Okay, I have to give a name. So I copy the name, click on next. Herein I have to select which EC2 will be part of this target group. So there is only one. I select that, check include as pending below, and it is now part of the target group. Click create target group. So target group is created, and I have registered. I have reviewed the targets. Now I go back to the application load balancer settings page. So I am here, and now I have to select a target group. So I just click refresh. I pick the target group and the second one also. Now when you have SSL, you will see automatically this secure listener settings pane, and then you just select the which certificate you want to use, from ACM, from IM import certificate. So I'll just say use the one which is there in the ACM from certificate manager, and rest all settings are fine. Create load balancer. So my load balancer is now available with the DNS name. So this is the setting which we have done. So our load balancer is on the front end, is listening on both SSL as well as non-SSL port, but the backend traffic is non-SSL, which is running on HTTP 8, which is usually the typical production settings, because this one is a constrained environment where the network is not exposed, but here users will directly access on your website on HTTPS. So we have done all these settings. Now we will test it. So first you can directly go to the EC2. So I go to the EC2 dashboard, and under details I take the public IPv4 address, copy the IP address and paste in. So I have to remove S because it doesn't work with. So the first test is okay. I can see the web server running fine. Now with I will access it via load balancer. So I go to load balancer, copy the DNS name, and paste it. So it will take few minutes or a few seconds to start routing traffic to our EC2 instances. So after a minute, as you can see, I can access my web application through the load balancer with HTTP. Now I will test with HTTPS. So I'll just take the whole URL and paste the. So I'll just remove this HTTP part and now try to access it. So now it will just say there is a risk. So I'll say advanced and accept risk and continue. So this is basically because the certificate is with the name techcentral.pro, but it is serving it on elb.amazonaws.com. So that's why, but it's still the traffic is HTTPS. So if I click this and click here, you will see more information. Then you can see the view certificate. So this is website, and click view certificate. This is certificate is different. So that's why it is saying there is a warning, but still it is going through SSL tunnel only. Now the last part is how to access the whole techcentral.pro on HTTPS. So this will not look good for if you serve if you have a website or a portal. So this will not look good. So you have to make it whatever domain you own. So let's see, do the settings for how to serve on HTTPS this particular whatever domain you own. So for this I have to create a hosted zone in Route 53. So I go to AWS, search for Route 53. I'll open this in a new tab. So I copy the hosted zone domain name, click on create hosted zone, paste the name, and herein you have the option of public and private. Private is for VPC, public is for exposing traffic on the public internet. Create hosted zone. So this hosted zone is created. Next, I have to add these 4 records into my GoDaddy DNS records, because that's how GoDaddy will know that I want to expose some traffic through AWS. So what I do, once I am here, you select this 4 name server. So these are authoritative name server. So if I select this, and you will see there are 4 name server which I have to add in GoDaddy. So I copy the first value. Now here already we have 2 name server, but now I want Route 53 to handle all my DNS requests, because I am hosting my application on AWS. That's why I am doing this step. So these are the name servers, and I will say I'll go to this name servers and click on change name servers. I will use my own name servers. I will add the first value, copy the second value, take the third value, copy the fourth value, click on save. Continue and verify. So I'll type in the code. So the request is in progress. Now my whole names server and DNS records will be transferred to Route 53 AWS. So if I click on DNS records, and click refresh once. So I am not seeing any DNS records, and I can see the message, we cannot display your DNS information because your name servers are not managed by us, and now they are managed by AWS. So I have done this step to transfer the DNS. Now I will create a record in AWS for www.techcentral.pro. So I copy the A record. This is a A record and its alias. So alias is basically you can point to anything other than IPv4. Also you can point to any other resource. So I will be pointing to the application load balancer. So I come to Route 53, click on create record. Paste the record name. Record type will be all this, but A is for IPv4 or AWS resources, and C name, as I talked about, it's for to route to another domain name and some AWS resources. So click on alias. When you click on alias, you will get this all this AWS resources. I will say application and classic load balancer. I have to choose the region. So I am working in US East 1. Select the region, and then there is only one load balancer which I choose, and click on create records. So I have added this particular record and it is pointing to the application load balancer. So at this point I should be able to access my website through this business friendly looking URL or my custom branded URL. Okay. So this may take some time, so I'll just try it now. Okay, so this will take probably a few minutes or 30 to 60 minutes also. So will pause the video and resume once this is available. So I'll be testing two URLs, this which is serving the traffic through our own certificate, and this which is a non-SSL traffic. So after around 1 hour, the domain is available. So this is through HTTP. So www.techcentral.pro, and I can see the my web page. And the second is through the HTTPS. So I can see my web page, and as you can see, there is no error on this padlock. So because now I am serving my domain through the same certificate, which is so if I click more information, so this is the website and the certificate is matching. So because the website and certificate is matching, that's why we don't see any errors also. And lastly, you can always access directly through this particular URL also, which is dual stack, and this will be available over here. So if I click here and select this, so there will be a direct load balancer URL. So this is dual stack, and this is what we have seen. So this is how we enable our web application or our portal to be hosted through our own custom domain. Okay, so we have verified everything now, and we have seen the certification also there is no issues. Finally, I will clean up all the resources. So first is to delete the EC2 instance. So I go to instances, select the instance, terminate. So it has successfully initiated termination. So this is now getting shut down. Next, I will delete the load balancer. So I am at load balancers and actions. Delete load balancer. Okay, load balancer is deleted. Next is to delete the target group. Actions, delete. So I'll just wait for a few minutes or a few seconds. So this is because this is getting deleted. So I'll come back to it. Then delete security groups. So there are a bunch of extra security groups. I will delete all. Click delete. And next I will delete the certificate. So I come to certificates and click on delete. It has successfully deleted the certificate. Now I will try target group once again. So let me select. So it has deleted because EC2 is terminated now. And that's all. Thanks for watching.